I'm just excited this morning because how many know that the word rejuvenates us? It helps to feed our spirit. And it's amazing because you can't go too long without being in the word. Because what happens is you can become dry. And now we've become so into what we think we know that we're not being able to eat from the source. But I believe that God has a word today. I'm just excited. I was encouraged from last week with the youth program. How the young men came forth with the word. You know, God is just looking for a yes. You see, we judge what comes out of our mouth and how we say it and how that's supposed to be said, but God looks at the heart. And what I love about it, he just wants a yes. Because as long as we're doing what he called us to do, that's all that matters. Is that all right? All right. Thank God for my wife this morning. I just want to give credit where credit is due. And God is always faithful to us. I don't want to be long at all. I want to go to 1 Kings. It's a familiar story. 1 Kings, the 19th chapter. I just believe that this is where we're at right now in these times of what we might be facing, what we might be dealing with. That's 1 Kings, the 19th chapter. And this is when Elijah has now gone on and defeated all the false prophets, Baal. He has now come to a place to where he is about to go to the next level. But how many know when you're going to the next level, God has to still deal with us on some things that are still hidden? Oh, God. That we might not even know that's there. It's 1 Kings, the 19th chapter, and I want to begin at the 4th verse. If you will, let's just stand for the reading of the word. I'm not going to be long at all with it. That's 1 Kings, the 19th chapter. We want to begin at the 4th verse. You have it? I got it. This is what it says, talking about Elijah. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die. And said, "It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life. For I am not better than my fathers." As he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, "Arise and eat." Yes. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking on the coals and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink and laid him down again. And the angel of the Lord came again in the second time and touched him and said, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee." Yes, yes. And he arose and did eat and drink and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 3 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. Yeah. And he came hither unto a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said unto him, "What doest thou here, Elijah?" Yeah. And he said, "I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I, only am left, and they seek my life to take it away." And he said, "Go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord." And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great strong wind rent the mountains, and brake in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so when Elijah heard it that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in entering of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him and said, "What doest thou here, Elijah?" And he said, "I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, because the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I, only am left, and they seek my life to take it away." I want you to just look at somebody real quick. Just ask them and provoke them. Ask them, what have you become? Ask somebody else, what are you becoming? You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. What are you becoming? It's amazing because after Elijah has gotten a victory, he finds himself now having to travel back through the wilderness. And he's having to go through the wilderness because I believe there's still some issues that he still had in his heart that had to be dealt with first before he can enter and go into the next level of what God had called him to do. It's amazing because I believe all of us are in different seasons right now.
Okay.
So we're trying to cross over and go into certain territories and certain things that God has called us to.
Okay.
But yet God is having to deal with some things before we actually get there. And one of the things I believe that God is having to deal with us is really with our pride. It's going to get quiet a little bit here, but it's going to be all right. We're going to get things together. It's amazing because depression actually stems from pride. And what it does is it now is able to control all of our 5 senses. And it controls it in a way to where it now allows us to begin to think that we are in control of everything that we are doing. What it does is it makes us feel as though we are now our own God. I'm now, which is called idolatry, I'm now submitted to idolatry, which has produced the pride in my life. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
And what happens is pride is always the foundation of idolatry.
Okay.
If we actually just go back into our life right now, it's going to get a little complicated, but we're going to have the Spirit of truth come to washing things away with us today. If we ask ourselves some questions, have we even forgiven our parents right now? Have we forgiven our ex-husband, our ex-wives? Have we forgiven our boss? Have we forgiven our sisters? Have we forgiven our brothers? Because what happens is these things grow so much around us that we don't even realize it's still lingering. And what happens is it's so hidden to the fact that we have buried it so well, and yet we don't even know it's there.
Wow. I see.
So what we do is we now still operate out of a spirit of unforgiveness, but we're thinking that we've already forgave that person, but yet it still hurts when somebody even mentions their name. Are you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what happens is, if we are still dealing with some things that have not been forgiven, these things will now manifest and grow out to different things that we don't even realize are growing in us. And what I mean by that is the fact that Elijah was at a place that he didn't really, it really wasn't the fact that he feared so much of Jezebel. It was the fact that it was still some things that could have been in his life that he was dealing with, and it reminded him of something that now had him afraid. You see, I want to tell you something. When we're dealing with the spirit of truth, you see, truth now is able to cast out fear. Because when I'm walking in the spirit of truth, I'm not afraid anymore. And what happens is, if we're still bound by certain things in our lives that keep us right there, we always will submit to those things that we're afraid of because we're really not wanting to give it up yet. You hear what I just said? Because sometimes we really hold on to certain things that we don't even realize we're still holding on to. Isn't that person that hurt you years ago that you thought that you really forgave, but yet you still can't stand them? It's amazing because even I told y'all, even my story, even when I was separated with my wife, I I didn't even realize there were still some things in me, Sister Twannies, that God still had to release out of me. See, and this is what I love about it. We can hide behind a blessing and hide behind what He gives us on the outside, but yet we're still having to deal with some things on the inside.
All right.
Give you a better example. How many of us do we change our underwear every day? Since the big you said about a month, we're gonna go there. How many of us don't change our underwear for a whole week? It sounds kind of gross, don't it? Does that sound kind of weird? Thank you, Sister. Nasty. The question I have for you right now: are we changing our minds every day? Or are we still leaving them without changing them?
All right.
I love what we just said. It's nasty. Not to change your drawers every day. Why? Because it'll stink. It'll make you feel a certain way, won't it? God is saying right now, are we putting more of going to Victoria's Secrets and trying to put all these other things to cover up all this other stuff without investing in our minds?
Amen.
We're getting all these name brand things, covering up ourselves very well.
Yeah, very well.
But yet our mind is still filthy.
All right. Amen.
It might feel good to front to you that I got it all together. Because you see, I'm dressed okay, I smell decent, so I can blend right on in with you. But yet my mind still has suicidal thoughts. My mind is still angry. I'm still cursing folk out because my mind is still dirty. How can it be that? See, we're saying, Lord, I want you to change me, but yet we're still not wanting Him to deal with all of the change. We want Him just to deal with certain areas in our lives that's comfortable for us, but we don't want to have to deal with the hard stuff. Is this making sense to somebody? It's because what happens is our mind has to be transformed daily. It has to be renewed daily. And this is a good example because I want us to keep thinking how tomorrow you want to take that shower and that bath. When you're putting on that undergarment, I want you to see my mind has to change daily of how I'm putting on this undergarment. Does that make sense? It's because what happens is, if we're so busy trying to get the outside appearance right, yet our heart is still not right. And what I love about this story is to show us that Elijah was in a cave. He was in a stony place. Has our mind become so hardened and stoned that God can't even talk to us no more? See, he still had to be in a sensitive place to still be able to hear the voice of God. Did y'all hear what I just said? See, God is still saying, I need you to stay in that same small, still place so I can talk to you, so I can really tell you what's going on. A snake, a viper snake. Check this out, a viper snake. He has so much poison in him, but if you take one of his fangs out of him, the poison will go to his brain, and he'll die from the poison being in his brain. What am I saying? There's some things in us, gosh, that have to be released out.
Okay.
Because if we keep holding this stuff in, it's poison to us.
Yes.
It's toxic to us.
Yeah.
That we will surely die from the things that are still holding on to us, that are not being released out.
Yeah. Rid of it.
Amen.
How many of us want to keep on carrying junk in us from 10, 15 years ago and keep having an excuse why you got it? You see, I told y'all before, I'm not here to preach a good message. I'm here to provoke us, to cause us to get into the things that God has called us to be.
Amen. Amen.
See, it's time for hearing a good word and becoming the word.
Amen.
That's why I'm asking you,
Yeah.
what are you becoming?
Amen.
Are we just becoming a good puppet to come sit and not get anything? Because we can just say tomorrow, oh, I went to church, but yet I still left empty. I still left with all this garbage with me, Sister B. Because what happens is, this is what I love about the Lord with me. He makes sure that every word that I say, He has me to be accountable for. And He does it even through my family. Gosh, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all something. Even though I'm speaking these words, I'm having to be careful what I'm saying because I need to make sure I'm living by them.
Amen. That's it.
See, what we do is we get so caught up with the messenger, but you don't realize the messenger is accountable as well. Matter of fact, he's more accountable way more than you. But here's what I love about it. Is the fact that when you have a heart and a mind to want to get it right.
Yes. All right.
How many of us just want to get it right? Because what I'm understanding, minister, is the fact that when I keep on being in the same stuff, stuck up with certain things, God has a way of stirring up trouble. I didn't say the enemy. I said God has a way of stirring up trouble.
Yeah.
Because He makes sure He has to chastise us, Sister B.
Yes, He does.
Because what happens is the fact that pride dries the mind. It dries the mind out so much to where now you have become your own personal God. Can't nobody tell you nothing no more. You done read the word, you done studied the word, but now you have allowed knowledge to puff up. And now there's no intimacy. See, thank you, Father. That's what God is calling right now, the intimacy.
Amen. Amen.
How can we get back to being intimate?
Amen.
How can I get you back to where it's just about me and you?
Yeah.
How can I get our relationship to kindle? But let me tell y'all something. If we're so offended, we won't even be able to see that. We'll only be able to see how you did me wrong and what you did. But what I'm learning is, if I'm supposed to be a son or a daughter of the kingdom, then I'm not called to the things of the world. I'm called to Him. And so if He tells me to go forgive my brother, that's what I got to go do. It might hurt a little bit, but I'm going to tell you something. Once you release it, I promise you, you feel. I've heard people always say, man, when I let things go, I feel so much lighter. Have you ever cried something out so much to where now all of a sudden you start to feel a lot lighter once you released it? See, that's what God is trying to say today. I need you just to release some things so I can pour some more things into you now. I said on Wednesday night that the real estate is us. It's not the land, it's you. The real estate. What does that mean? You have a real state of mind. You have a real state of joy. You have a real state of hope, of peace. The fruits of the Spirit. You are the real estate. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's because what happens is we can get so caught up on the things that are on the outside when God is just trying to build us up on the inside. It goes back to what I just said earlier. Are we investing in so many things to cover our outside appearance that we're not taking the time to invest in our minds? See, what you're doing today is you're coming to invest right now in your mindset. That way now you can be able to go back out and give more of you. Why? Because you are the church. Oh, okay. I told you we won't be too crazy there, but that's fine. But what I love about it is the fact that God wants us to just get the simplicity of his heart. If we can just get the simplicity of not trying to make sure, oh, I got to show out over here, I got to do this over there. No. It's not even about you.
Right.
It's about what God has called you to be, or what he has called you to become.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have time to be caught up with what you're doing. I need to be so caught up with what he has me to do, because I'm going after the things that he called me to do. Because we get so entangled with other people's mess that it throws us off of what we are supposed to be becoming. Now you're trying to become somebody else. Oh, that's all right. That God never called you to become. That's why you gotta watch what you feed in your mind on these TV shows. It's so funny because we always like to look at the reality shows and we be thinking that's how it's supposed to be. But yet if they was to come right now and just to be real with you, they are so miserable. And if they had a chance, they would really want to trade places with you right now. And most of the stories that I read a lot of times, a lot of them are broke now. Had all these plastic surgeries, trying to become something. Trying to become something that you never was. Don't you know what costs you to keep trying to be something that you are? How many of us want to keep having a front on something that we were never called to be? That's why I'm asking, what are we becoming? Because it's a simple message, because at the end of the day, God loves us all. And yet, he wants you to become what he's called you to be. He don't want you to be like Kim Kardashian. He don't want you to be like Billy Bob Joe over here. He wants you to be the simplest person he has called you to be. Because sometimes we get so caught up and mixed up in the houses and the cars and all this stuff. And all it is stuff. If I was to break it down for you, where did all this stuff come from? It comes from the earth. Okay, stay with me real quick. Where does cars come from? Metal, steel, rock. Why are we going after stuff that God has already given us? Clothes. Why are we going after clothes that come from sheep? I want us just to think. Because we're so caught up in the spirit of all these things around us that we can be deceived of not knowing that we have rulership over the stuff. But yet we're allowing the stuff to have rulership over us. Did y'all catch that? We're so blindsided because all we're doing is just looking at the things and conforming to the ways of the world, that our minds are still not being transformed. And that's why I'm jealous of you right now. I'm jealous of you because I don't even know who I am yet. That's why. I'm jealous of your marriage because I have not even tried to even work out my own. Have you ever had somebody say, oh man, they've been married for 30 years, 40 years, da da da. I wish I could just be like that. But can I break something down for some of us? Some of those 30 and 40 years right now with those marriages are still empty. Quit trying somebody else's marriage and get where God wants to have your marriage at. Let me tell you something. It is a work in progress. When I leave here today, I still got to work on me. So I can be even more better for my wife. When my wife leaves here, she needs to be working on herself so she can be better for me today. See, y'all don't want to keep it real though. See, we think when we just come to church, everything is already worked out. No. The real work begins when you leave.
Amen.
See, that's why the scripture says, work out your own soul salvation. It's not my job to read the Bible for my wife. Oh, man, come on. It's not my wife's job to read the Bible for me. But, oh my gosh, but yeah, we say, oh, well, you got more word in you, so you're supposed to be able to go ahead and, no. You can't sit up there and try to keep living off of somebody else. Oh, this is good, y'all. God is trying to give you something that way you can bring to the table too.
Amen.
All right.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. See, even though I might pay all the bills in the house, it still doesn't hurt that my wife will at least know which bills to pay. Well, you got quiet right now. You got quiet. I'm speaking wisdom now because what happens is we get so in a formality that we keep doing the same things over and over again, and we're not thinking outside the box of what all the things that could happen that we need to be able to have taken care of. Does this make sense to somebody? Because all we want to do is just be saved. That's all we come to church for, to be saved, go to heaven. As long as I don't go to hell, sister B, I'm good. Can I be honest with some of us? We feel as though as long as I come to church and pay my tithes and do what I'm supposed to do, I ain't going to hell. I should be all right. Can I tell you something? You've already wasted time.
All right.
And you're not becoming what God has called you to do. Matter of fact, he said, occupy until I come. What does that word occupy mean? It means to do business.
Yes.
But we feel as though if I could just make it to heaven, I'm all right. Wouldn't it be something if you got to heaven and the Lord says, man, I had so much more for you to do on the earth.
Wow.
That you wasted all this time trying to be saved instead of trying to go out and do what I called you to do. Can I be honest with some of us? Some of us are too religious for our own self. But what that does is, it keeps us with a judgmental spirit. It keeps us with a critiquing spirit that everything around us ain't right. That ain't right. This ain't right. Now we judge the leadership. They should do it this way. Why they ain't changed that yet? See, God even had to convince me. I don't even want to say the word convict. He had to convince me that what he gave me was right. See, if we get out of trying to just, if we're convicted, that means we'll go right back and do the same thing over again.
Right.
We'll feel sorry today. Let me give you an example. We'll feel sorry today, but then the next couple of days we're going to do the same thing over again. Can I tell you why? It's because we're not convinced yet. See, it's one thing to be convinced, and it's one thing to be convicted. But I'd rather be convinced, because if I'm convinced, that means I'm definitely not doing it again. I want you to think about that. If you have seen something that was so crazy in your life, that now you say, oh no, I'm convinced that I do not want to ever have that experience ever again. You ain't doing it no more. Am I just talking to myself? I'm closing right now. But what I love about it is this. When God shows us exactly what we need to deal with, are we going to be willing and obedient to hear his voice and make the change? Somebody probably saying right now, oh yeah, that sounds good, but I'm still keep doing me. But the craziest thing is, I want to ask you then, why are you coming?
Right. Amen.
Are you coming just to say that you had a good word today? And that you went with the program? But the Lord has asked me to ask you, when are you going to change your program?
Amen.
When does our program change? Because we're about to already go into May. And before you know it, summertime is already here. And now Christmas will be here. And we have repeated the same steps and never came out of where we're supposed to come out. Can I tell you the person that you're really fighting? Is you. You're not fighting the devil. You're not fighting your sister. You're not fighting your brother. You're not fighting your boss.
Right.
You're not fighting your parents. You're fighting you. And when we can really grasp where the battle is at, I promise you it will become so much easier. Because he says, my yoke is easy. Thank you for your word, Lord. And my burden is light. How many want to release that burden? Isn't it heavy not to forgive somebody? Isn't it heavy to have to keep carrying and being traumatized with the same things over and over again?
Right.
There's people that you still have not let go of yet, that need to be let go of right now. Because it's blocking where God needs to take you to. And you're the one that's hindering the process. Why is it so hard to forgive your mother? She brought you into the world. Honor her and love her. Because it has a blessing attached to it. Oh man. But we don't see, but we're not convinced yet. Because we are a people that have to see it first. But Jesus says, blessed are those that believe and have not seen. Do you have enough faith to know that you know that you know? That even when it hurts, that God still got you?